Welcome back to Old Charles, the channel where we dig deep into the stories and values hidden in your pocket change. Today, we're tackling a coin that almost every single American over the age of 30 has held at some point, the 1980 Lincoln Memorial Penny. It's a coin from the recent past, not some ancient relic. So the big question is the 1980 penny valuable? Is it worth more than its face value? The answer is, it's complicated. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. Let's set the stage. The year is 1980. The US is in a recession, inflation is high, and a new decade is beginning. The Lincoln Memorial Penny, designed by Frank Gasparo, had been in circulation since 1959. In 1980, the US Mint produced a staggering amount of these coins to meet public demand. Let's just let that sink in. The Philadelphia Mint alone made over 7 billion pennies. That's billion with a B. So, the vast, and I mean vast, majority of 1980 pennies you find are just worth 1 cent. They are exceptionally common. So, if you have one like this, worn smooth from decades of circulation, it's a 1 cent coin. But don't click away. Because within those billions of coins, there are key factors that can turn this common cent into a collector's item. We use a grading scale from poor to mint state 70. For a 1980 penny to have any significant premium based solely on its condition, it needs to be in brilliant, uncirculated condition. Think MS65 or higher. A 1980p, no mint mark, in MS65 red condition might be worth $1 to $2. A 1980D in the same grade is similar, maybe $0.50 to $1.50. Not life-changing, but it's a 100x to 200x return on your 1 cent investment. The real value in condition comes from the proof coins. Remember that San Francisco mintage? Those were all proof coins, sold in sets to collectors. A proof coin is struck multiple times with specially polished dies on polished planchets, giving it a mirror-like finish. A standard 1980s proof penny in perfect PR70 DCAM condition can be worth $15 to $25. Now we're getting somewhere. The second factor is variety. This is where things get exciting. In 1980, there is one major, recognized variety for the Lincoln cent. But first, let's talk about one that is often misunderstood. Many people ask about a 1980 small date variety. Here's the truth, for the Denver Mint, there is no small date variety. Only the Philadelphia Mint produced both a large date and a small date in 1980. The differences are subtle. Look at the 8. On the small date, the 8 is more rounded and balanced. On the large date, the 8 is taller and more oval. The small date is considerably rarer, but it's not a massive rarity. A circulated one might only be worth a few dollars. But an uncirculated 1980p small date in MS65 red can be worth $20 to $40. So, check those Philadelphia pennies, and now, the big one. The third factor, errors. This is where you find the true hidden fortunes. The minting process in 1980, with its billions of coins, was bound to have some mistakes. And collectors pay a premium for mistakes. Let's go over the most valuable types of errors to look for on a 1980 penny. 1. Double dies asterisk. This is the king of errors. It happens when the die imprints the design onto the coin slightly out of alignment, and then strikes it again. This creates a distinct, doubling effect on the lettering and date. There are minor double die varieties known for 1980, but no major, dramatic ones like the famous 1955. However, a strong double die on the obverse, head side, could be worth $50 to $200 or more, depending on the strength and grade. 2. Off-center strikes asterisk. This is when the coin blank isn't seated properly in the press and gets struck off-center. The value depends on how far off-center it is. A 5% off-center strike might be worth $10. A 50% off-center strike could be worth $50 to $100. 3. Broad strikes asterisk. The coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread out like a pancake. These can be worth $10 to $30. 4. Repunched mint marks, RPM. Look very closely at the D mint mark on your 1980 D pennies. Sometimes, the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, and slightly out of place. You can see a slight doubling or shadow on the mint mark. A confirmed RPM can add $10 to $50 to the value. So, let's create the ultimate, dream-fine 1980 penny. What would it be? It would be a 1980p, Philadelphia, small date variety with a strong obverse double die error graded in MS67 red by PCGS or NGC. A coin like that could easily be worth over $1000. It's the holy grail for 1980 penny hunters. Alright, you're fired up. You want to go check your coin jar. What do you do? 1. Get a magnifier asterisk. You cannot see these details with the naked eye. A simple 5x or 10x jeweler's loop is perfect too. Sort by mint mark asterisk. Separate your 1980 pennies into P, no mint mark, and D.3. Check for the small date asterisk. Carefully compare your 1980p pennies to images online of the small date variety. 4. Inspect for errors asterisk. Look for any doubling on the words "In God We Trust" or the date. Check for off-center strikes. Examine the mint mark on the D pennies for any doubling. 5. Identify high-grade asterisk. Look for coins that are bright, lustrous, and have absolutely no wear. The highest points to check are Lincoln's cheek and the wheat stalks on the reverse. If you think you found something special, don't clean it. Cleaning destroys the surface and the value. Put it in a protective 2x2 coin flip or a capsule. So, to answer our original question, is the 1980 penny valuable? For most of them, no. They are a testament to American mass production. But for a tiny, tiny fraction of them, the answer is a resounding yes. The hunt isn't for the coin itself, it's for the specific version of that coin. Escape the mint in a unique way. Our story begins in the aftermath of the American Revolution. The new nation needed its own currency, distinct from the British. The Coinage Act of 1792 established the U.S. Mint and authorized a coin of copper, of the value of 1/100th part of a dollar. These first designs were bold and symbolic. The 1793 chain cent featured a chain of 15 links, representing the states, but it was criticized for looking like slavery. It was quickly replaced by a laurel wreath design. The most famous early design is the Liberty Cap, featuring the personification of liberty with a cap on a pole, a symbol of freedom from antiquity. But it had a fatal flaw. The design was very high relief, with the eagle's head and the wreath standing proud of the surface. This made it difficult to strike properly, and the coins often had weak details, particularly on the eagle's head and tail. After only 2 years of official production, the mint retired the beautiful but problematic design. But its brief life paved the way for one of the most beloved American coins of all time. Now, a quick note, the figure on the coin isn't actually a Native American. It's a stylized representation of liberty, wearing a headdress. It was a romantic, uniquely American image. The Indian head since circulated through the most transformative period in American history, the Civil War, Reconstruction, and the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. It's a coin steeped in history, and it remains a favorite among collectors today. In 1909, America was preparing to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The president, Theodore Roosevelt, believed U.S. coinage was dull and wanted to revitalize it with great art, inspired by the ancient Greeks and Romans. He commissioned a young sculptor, Victor David Brenner, to design a new penny featuring the 16th president. This was a revolutionary act. For the first time, a real, historical person, not an allegorical figure of liberty, would appear on a regular issue American coin. The Lincoln wheat cent was released to immense public excitement in 1909. The obverse featured Lincoln in profile, and the reverse featured 2 stalks of wheat. It was an instant classic. The initials VDB at the bottom of the reverse, however, caused a scandal. People thought the artist was being too self-promotional, and the initials were removed midway through 1909, creating an instant rarity. Copper was a critical war material needed for shell casings and wiring. So, for 1 year only, the mint struck cents on zinc-coated steel planchets. These steel pennies are silvery, they rust, and they feel completely different from any other cent. It's a powerful, tangible piece of homefront history. In 1959, for the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse was redesigned. The wheat stalks were replaced with a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial. This was a powerful design, Lincoln the man on the front, and the monument to his legacy on the back. If you look very closely at the center of the memorial on the coin, you can see a tiny, sculpted figure of Lincoln sitting in his chair. It's an incredible feat of miniaturization. This design lasted for 50 years, becoming the longest-running reverse design in U.S. coinage history and the penny that most of us grew up with. In 2009, to honor the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, the Mint issued 4 different reverse designs showing key stages of his life: his birth in Kentucky, his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and his presidency in Washington, D.C. It was a one-year-only special commemorative series. Since 2010, we've had the Lincoln Shield cent. The reverse features a Union shield, a classic symbol of American strength and unity, with 13 vertical stripes representing the original colonies. This design brought the penny back to its heraldic roots and remains in production today. And this leads to the great modern debate: should we abolish the penny? For years, it has cost the U.S. Mint more than 1 cent to produce a single penny. Critics say it's inefficient, burdensome for businesses, and practically useless in modern commerce. Proponents argue it's a piece of American history, that it's vital for charity, think roundup campaigns, and that eliminating it would cause inflationary rounding up of prices. The debate rages on, in Congress and in the public sphere. From the large copper discs of the 18th century to the zinc cores of the 21st, the penny has been a constant witness to the American experiment. It has carried our symbols, reflected our resource needs, and borne the portrait of our most revered president for over a century.